Guys, what's up? Listen, I told you I'd do some penetration test. So that's what we're gonna do today. It's my birthday. I'm excited to do it. I went and got my shit set up yesterday. Look, I set me up some coupons. Look at that shit. Them things are nice. Look at them little tags, man. Huh? Professional. This was cut out of a piece of 1/4-inch angle. That, you know, I mean, it had heavy pitting and stuff. Look at this side. I made a good side and a bad side, right? This is to represent all of us. We have a good side and a bad side. It wasn't meant to do that. I just thought of that in the moment. Look, you can see I got my little bastard set up. Yeah, ready to go, dude. And the new, this is Greta, okay? Green Greta Gobbler, because she gobbles up that steel like it's nothing. And you're gonna get to see it. Now look, been running some beads on plate. Woo, I showed you guys in some pictures. Oh, can you even see that? Yeah, this is professional as fuck. You guys see that already? Okay, look, running some beads on plate. Nothing special. I warped the shit out of that plate. I never quenched it. Not a lot of spatter. That's the thing. That's what the main thing I'm looking for. My welding, let's be real, but the spatter. You know what I mean? Look at that one back there. That one's pretty, boys. That one is pretty. Anyway. So, you guys have seen me use this little bastard a ton, right? A ton. And I use it for like a ton of my jobs because I've used 332nd 6011 or 7018 if I can manage to not get porosity. So here's the setup, right? I got them ready to go. Got the ground clamps on the side. I will say this about this machine already. I recommend changing this ground clamp, right? Let's look at this on a piece of steel, okay? You got 4 places of contact that aren't really contacting if you really well, you know what I mean? I would change it. Now look, you can always use some steel wool in there, and that helps. And that did help for the first job I did and the first thing I built. All right, guys, let's be real with it. This is not a scientific test at all. By no means, right? This is a half redneck dude doing a penetration test to see if flux core will work for him. Now look, I'm also not trying to prove that stick is better than flux core here. I want flux core to work for me. That's why I'm doing this test, because I wouldn't have wasted my time buying this and doing all the things, right? This isn't for a video, this is for me to work with. So I'm doing these tests for myself, so I don't want to attract any of the flux fairies to this video. What's a flux fairy? Hey, I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to tell you. A flux fairy is one of those hideous creatures that flies up into your comment section and starts flipping out if you say anything even remotely negative about the only welding process they barely know how to use. Burn. So seriously, guys, I'm not trying to prove that flux core is not good. I'm trying to prove that it is good and that you can penetrate with. So let's talk about a few things that I found out about flux core. Right now, first of all, I will say I am amazed by this machine. I love it. Now look, if you're wanting to get straight to the penetration test and the cutting and the etching and all that shit, what you're going to want to do is go down to this little slider bar and take your sausage fingers and slide down until you don't see me talking anymore and you see the other thing you want to see, right? No time stamps, you lazy Whoa, guys, let's not get off to a rough start here. Listen, take that hat off, it's getting on my nerves. Listen, I've been doing a little research, guys, about flux core, and I think I figured out why people hate flux core. Here's what I've come up with. First of all, you run across welds, like when you're looking for flux core, some of the first things you run across are welds that look like this, or when you use flux core, right? This is hideous, guys. This looks like an explosion happened. Like you're standing at ground zero, the worst fucking weld I've ever seen in my life. Dude, I'll pass, right? This is why people don't, this is their first impressions of it. Then you got a number 2 reason. There are so many different kinds of flux core. I had one of the flux fairies freak out on me on one of my videos because I said it was for smaller stuff. Now, I was using 030 wire, and I'm using it on something small, so, right? Like that's what I was referring to. And I was referring to the wire you just get, like the general purpose wire, right? Oh man, they brought up dual shield flux core. They brought up, you know, industrial structural flux core, right? This is a totally different wire, right? And that's the thing. That's what's confusing people, is there are so many different types of flux core. dual shield flux core. Like I said, structural flux core. There's so many different classifications of wire. And what most people end up with is the wire that comes with their machine, or they'll go out to Harbor Freight and buy the wire, the general purpose single pass wire. I think I might have some laying around here somewhere. I don't know what I did with it. Hold on. Guys, I don't know what I did with it. Let me check the truck. Look, I don't know. I might have very well just thrown it in the trash because I had a very hard time with the general purpose. It's labeled -GS, and then there's -11, and then there's T8, and fucking blah, blah. You know, E71 T-11, right? That's the wire that I switched to, and that's the wire that I have in my titanium right now. Here's the thing about the general purpose single pass wire. It's got a lot more manganese in it, right? Manganese. What is manganese? I don't fucking have a clue, man. All I know is it causes your weld to work harden really easy. So what happens is when you get done welding, you start beating the shit out of it with that damn chipping hammer, right? And then you take that wire wheel across it. What you've done is pinged it. You cause it to start work hardening, right? And that's going to make it hard, like you know, like carbon steel. Like when like if you make a blade or something, if you ever quench something in water, right? It'll break like a plate. It's like that, right? That's what causes it to break. Now, people don't know that it's just a single pass wire. So let's say they want to do multiple passes at their home and they're working on something, and now you've just heated it up a bunch and chipped off all that stuff and work hardened it, and now it's just, right, prone to breaking. And I think what happens is it breaks. It's kind of how 6011 gets a bad name in the stick world, because it's called the farm rod, and the reason why it gets a bad name is because this farmer's out here, shit just broke down. Oh my God, it's just this linkage over here. What do I need to do? I need to get these crops in before it starts raining. So this dude's not a pro welder. This is all he's thinking about. He's not prepping that shit. He's not cleaning that shit. He's doing what this rod's known for, busting through some dirt and some paint. I don't know if you ever welded through paint, but it sucks. It'll do it, but it's your weld's gonna look kind of bubbly. Anyway, this guy ain't thinking about that kind of shit. He's ready to fucking get it fixed, and if he comes out the next day and it works, hey, I'll just leave it. And then on down, lo and behold, it's got dirt in it, paint in it, freaking rust in it, right? It breaks. So that 6011 gets a bad rap because of that, the old farm rod, right? But if you weld with it right, boy, it'll hold. Trust me. This is what I built my entire trailer out of, right? 6011. You know, who knew? I digress, guys. Where was I at, guys? Oh yeah, we're doing a test on some shit today. That's what you guys came here for, not for me to talk. Yeah, you know what you can do. Oh yeah, the wire, T-11, the 11 wire. That's really what most people, especially doing repairs, should be using, is the 11 wire. If you're at home, I would use that, man, because you're really not going to have to worry about it after that. Welding with that, if you get a good weld with that, you're not really going to have to worry about anything. And here's why. I looked up the numbers, man. I got tired of, you know, I mean, I watched every video I could on flux core on YouTube, and one of them was like dispelling myths of flux core, and what I got was anecdotal evidence. Like, I ran miles and miles of this 11 wire. Well, cool, but that doesn't really tell me anything. So I started looking up the numbers. AWS has specs that all of these companies have to go by. So I started looking on some companies' websites and different things like that. And the specs on the E71 T-11 is the tensile strength has to be between 70 and 95,000 pounds per square inch, and it's typical 77,000, right? And the yield strength is typical 70,000. Now, if you look over here compared to the 7018, which is the god of the rod, that's me. Just kidding, 7018, right? So if you look over here at the specs of the 7018, you've got the tensile strength is 70,000 pounds per square inch, and the yield strength is 81,000 pounds. Now, the yield strength of the 11 wire is 70,000, right? So I think that's where that 11,000 pounds of yield strength is why you would difference. The 11,000 pound difference in yield strength is why you would choose 7018 over this wire. But today, I want to test some penetration to see if I can use it in place of the 6011, and then I could just multipass with that on most of my repairs, and then use the 7018 when necessary, and I've got the monster over here if I want to use stick of any kind for as long as I want. 100% duty cycle, guys. Woo! Anyway, The numbers don't lie, man. This is and can be a really good wire. And I've had multiple people tell me that this little titanium is a badass welder. Now, I'll keep this in mind as well. I just bought this. This is not a review of this. I've already done a review on this. I love this machine. I may have to retire it if this works out, which I don't want to, but it'll get a place in the truck. It's deserved that. It's part of the crew now. But this thing, it's really blown me away so far on the look of the weld. Let's see what it does as far as penetration goes, guys. All right, guys, this is the wire I'm using for the test today. E71. Oh, it's E71 T-11 030 PGN. I'm not affiliated with this company. It runs really good. The reason why I'll probably buy it from now on is look at the way that it's spooled. So smooth, dude. So smooth. Look at that. Just beautiful. But either way, that's the wire I'm using. And then, of course, the rods I'm using, the 6011 from the green dots from Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever you get them. All right, so that's what I'll be using. Let's do some welding. Let's do it. Go. Yeah, all right, bro. Alright guys, and this is supposedly my better welds. So this is 6011, something I use all the time. You wouldn't be able to tell it by what it looks like right now. And this is surprisingly the flux core, guys. I don't know if it's the wire or if I got a limited edition titanium that I didn't know about. And it just blows through it. Oh yeah, there we go. That looks good. Now that's before it's cleaned off. Let's go ahead and clean it off. And one more thing though, guys, you can see how clean those flux core welds look, right? Even before I've cleaned them off, it looks way different than a lot of the flux core welds you've seen. The reason is, guys, this is also something that I found out along the way in my research. This is classified, E71T-11 is classified as a spray type transfer according to AWS. So what that means is you treat it like a spray type transfer. You wouldn't do any circles or any of that stuff, moving back and forth or rotations or any kind of, you know, weaving or nothing. One thing to keep in mind is stringers are stronger, right? Unless you're a pessimist, then just remember weaves are weaker, right? And if you're doing circles and you're doing all these stacking dimes with like MIG or whatever, you're basically weaving, guys, and that's going to be a weaker weld. Now, one thing to think about is why not get the core weld down, the spray type transfer weld, where you're just spraying it in there, and then go back over that with your weave, because this is going to be a strong weld, dude. You can already tell by the way it went down. Now, I did the arc shots on the practice welds because I knew the shit was going to be in my way, and I wanted full concentration on these. So let's clean them off and see what it looks like. Alright, once again, this is the practice welds. Let's look at those. So there's the 6011. Right, there's still a little slag in there. The flux core weld, right? I'm still a little uncomfortable around the edges when I get to the ends. There we go. So there's the bad side. But well, here's the good side of the 6011, right? Now, I wouldn't normally use 6011 3/32 on 1/4 inch, but I wanted to see what we were gonna deal with here. And you can see I didn't get a lot of that spatter off there. It is what it is. Maybe I want the flux core to work a little too much, guys. I don't know. There's a little bitty pinhole right there, right? And then this motherfucker's probably still hot. It is. That flux core don't give a shit. It is hot. So there you go. There's the flux core welds. Now I'm going to mark them as the main ones, the practice ones. Then I'm going to weld them all together so I can get them into my saw, and I'm going to cut them, and then we're going to etch them. I got some muriatic acid. Guys, did I tell you I got some muriatic acid? Yeah, I did. Well, I mean, I had fun with this, man. Let's do this cut and etch. We got them all welded together. I don't know how straight they are, but they're, I guess, pretty straight. And then I got this on here so that way when I get to the end of the, you know, on the saw, I can still clamp it down for this last one. So we're gonna roll with it, guys.
What?
Guys, what's up? What a strange setting for me. I'm actually in my wife's design studio. It's the only place I could find. It's been raining. I had a job to do. I had some stuff to come up. I tried to use muriatic acid. That didn't work to etch it. This is not professional by any means. I've told you that already. I've tried to use muriatic acid. I finally got the navel jelly to work. I left it on overnight. Everything turned black. I had to clean it off again, try it again, get the timing right. So this doesn't look all that great, but I did get a little bit of etching, and hopefully I can hold the angle just right. And I had to do it in here because she's got a bunch of lights that I installed, some really good LED lights I got off of Amazon. I may do a review on those eventually, but that's the ones I put in my, I put them everywhere. I got like 8 of them. I put them in every room, every bathroom, right in your face. Anyway, let's get to looking at this etching, guys. Shit, bear with me. Oh, I want you to keep a couple things in mind before we do this. Let me get this stupid. All right, let me keep a couple things in mind, guys. Okay, I stretched both of these machines to their limit, the titanium and the 80 amp arc welder, right? And what I mean by that is the 030 wire. Not that they can't do it, but in some cases, why would you want to, right? If you've got better or if you've got more. If that's all you got, do it, right? But I stretched them to the limits. The 030 wire is not really, they don't have any settings for 1/4 inch for a reason. You're not really doing that single pass. The 030 wire, hell, if you were going to do it with this machine, the titanium, you would probably do, oh yeah, I'm not outside. You'd probably do it with 035 wire or step up to 045 in a different machine. So I'm stretching this to the limits, and you're looking at worst case scenario and on all accounts, right? A freaking T-joint that's not, no bevel, no nothing, just fillet weld. That's worst case scenario. That's why they test them that way, to see how good the penetration is, right? And with the 6011, guys, here's the thing. You're looking at 1/4 inch just isn't the way. Oh no, 3/32 rod, especially with this small arc welder, right? It doesn't go up as hot as the other one. I know it's not a fair comparison, but if you think about it, you could turn up the heat and get that penetration, a better penetration, but about halfway through that rod, you're going to burn it, and it's going to turn black because you've burned all the flux, and then that much of your rod that's left into that weld, you've just compromised all that. So, did you get better penetration? Did you get a better weld? I don't think so. And that also adds to the bad reputation of the old farm rod. So this is pushing the limits, and the 030 wire, I mean, it did a good job, but it's not what it's supposed to do. So let's look at these welds. All right, we're going to take a look at here's all my stuff laid out. We're going to take a look at the good welds, the ones that I was doing not while I was getting the arc shots, the ones I actually did the practice welds first, but we'll take a look at those second. This is supposedly the good welds. Let's, but, if you've got a good welder, but for right now, you're going to have to bear with me. So this is the stick 6011. This is the E71T-11. All right, let's go. 030. All right, let's go try to get a good angle. It didn't do real good. Now, one thing, guys, is this is not cleaned off really well, so don't expect what you see on Jody's channel or Tim Welds, but you can see that there's, it's got some penetration, but right here there's not. Let's see if I can focus on that. Right, you can see not really any at the root of that one. Let's move that around a little bit. Let's see if we can. I'll take some pictures too. Right, okay, because I pushed this to the limit, guys. I didn't go as hot as I could because I didn't want to burn the rod. So this is what we're getting. Look, I'm not pleased with the penetration, really. You can see I got it on the sides. I can't draw lines like Jody, but you can see, if this was cleaned a little better, shaved a little better, this looks horrible. But anyway, we're doing it. 6011. All right, let's look at the E71 T-11. Definitely got shit. Let me try this. All right, let's look at the E71 T-11. Definitely got more penetration there, right? And I don't know if that's me that did that. More penetration, but not the best, right? But it might be me, guys, because look at this. On these other ones, well, this is the other side of that one. All right. So not the greatest of penetration. Right? Maybe I was trying too hard, because on the practice ones, I actually got really bad on the 6011. Look at that. That's the one where I was just... It was harder on the 6011 with the camera because the stick was so long, right? The flux core, look at this. I actually got pretty good with the flux core on that one. Look at that. That's pretty good, right? Maybe the angle and everything was just better on that. So the penetration on the practice one was better. So I would say that it's me, quite honestly. Look at that. Damn. That's the flux core E71 T-11. Like I said, I numbered them all. So there you go. I mean, that looked a lot better, but that muriatic acid, and then I put baking soda on it to neutralize that. I tried everything, guys. I'm sorry. This did not end up like I wanted it to, but look, you see the penetration of the practice weld of this E71 T-11. Let's look at that one again. All right, that's the practice, god dang, the practice weld, right? You got pretty good penetration. The practice weld on the stick, you know what I mean? You're not using 3/32 on this. We'll do one with the 1/8 and show you. You're going to get a lot better because you could turn up the heat. And that's supposedly the good weld on the, you know, I hit a couple bumps here. Maybe I hit a bad spot, but it's supposed to be good all the way through, right? So there you go. Not that great of penetration on that one. Maybe I was trying too hard on my angle even. That one's actually good on the left. Not too bad. If I could hold it still or maybe get a better shot. There we go. Yeah, it's not too bad. Look at that. That's not too bad. You got good penetration on that side anyway. So whatever. For small repairs, yes. Small repairs on even a 1/4 inch. And I've seen better and deeper penetration with both things. So you're looking at also being welder related, right? Welder related. This is too cold. This is cold fusion right here. This is too cold. The 6011, it's too cold for that. This is basically heat sinking that shit. Just like MCF was telling me, that little amp, you know, with thicker steel, that little 80 amp arc welder, it's going to heat sink everything. Let's see if I can get the light down here better. Nope, that's not better. Oh, that's better. It's going to heat sink everything. So 6011, let's go down through here. E71 T-11. Right. So it's still raining in there, so we'll talk in here. Guys, you can see how much uglier I am in here because of all the good lighting. At least I'm good at lighting. Guys, so you draw your own conclusions. Do your own test, honestly. I mean, these weren't good. This was not max situation, but with 1/4 inch, I'm stepping up to 1/8 on the, depending. If I can get penetration by beveling the edges, obviously you can use whatever, because that's what a good welder is going to do. You're going to give yourself the optimum, you know, chances for good penetration. So I, you know, obviously on this situation, I would have beveled the edges to a point and shot that shit in there and got even better penetration. But you do what you know, this is a test. This is a test. The 6011, I wouldn't use it for this type of situation, you know, not with, not a 3/32 6011, not with that machine even. It runs really good at 69, 70, 72 amps. Any hotter than that, and you're burning the rod. You're compromising the weld. So in that situation, if that's all you got, burn halfway through the rod, change rods. If you're in a hurry, if you can get a 1/8 and go up in amps, you're going to get a really good, a better penetration. That's what we're going to test next. I'm going to do 1/8 6011 versus 1/8 6010 on DC on the same machine. And then I'm going to do 045 wire, on a better machine, on the MiG 180, and see what kind of penetration we can get on 1/4 inch. I've made enough coupons to do that. And then we'll go from there. You can see, you'll be able to see that, yeah, you should step up to 1/8 in most situations on 1/4 inch, unless it's, you know, like I say, you got optimal beveling and all that going on. And then with the flux core, I'm very impressed. If I get better, once I get better at it, I think I can get even better penetration with this. But I would have used the 035, turned it up a little bit, or 045 is really mainly what I'm going to use. 3/16 and below, I don't think you'd have to worry about any of them, honestly. I mean, we got penetration with both. So 3/16 and below, no problem. I mean, if you have to multipass, do whatever, bevel the edges. Don't forget to bevel the edges. Anyway, guys, look, I think I've covered almost everything. I've probably forgotten a bunch of shit. But either way, I mean, guys, you draw your own conclusions. Yes, you can do it, and you can do pretty good at it with either one of these, especially if you know how to weld. Some of these are embarrassing, guys, but it's all out there in the open with me. You know that. It's all out there in the open with me, guys. I don't care. Hey, I do what I do. I bevel those edges anyway. All right. So, see you tomorrow.